Peace. So somebody asked me like kind of what's wrong with organizations and affiliations. And my thing is illiteracy. Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of groups and organizations that's full of illiterate people. Yeah, I mean, people who have just learned how to quote unquote research or how to use a book in a way in the last 2 or 3 years, but these are elders. We got brothers and sisters who are older than me and are illiterate in their leading groups and organizations and affiliations. The problem is this: when you are illiterate and you pass on information to somebody else, you're usually passing on misinformation because the words you use are usually out of context. You're using them in the wrong way. And when you spell, you're usually spelling things in the wrong way, and they have a different meaning when you're spelling them in the wrong way and saying it in another way. You see? So we have a lot of leadership that's illiterate, that's uneducated. And what I mean by education, I don't necessarily mean that school education, but I mean education to the point of better building the self up, instilling education in self, doing your research, looking for things, looking for words in etymology and understanding the science of etymology in English and grammar. Because in order to be a good leader, you must have a grasp on these things. And contextualization of words is very important. You must know the definitive meaning of what a word is and be able to transfer that word to your people. Even if they can't understand it in its true definitive form, you should be able to give it to them in a way which they can understand it, which is conducive for their growth, and then lead them up to a higher definitive understanding. You teach them how to become literate. Now you get those brothers and sisters who will say, well, they'll put the eagle in it. Well, the Prophet Muhammad couldn't read. He was illiterate. Noble Drew Ali, they say he was illiterate, but Noble Drew Ali told you to get a good European education, huh? Didn't he? That's what he said, right? Prophet Muhammad was illiterate, right? But they're prophets. They went through changes and transformations. You're not the same thing. You can't place yourself on the same paradigm or the same parallel as that situation, because each man is held accountable for his own ways and his own actions. He's held accountable and responsible. You understand? So it is your job to learn how to read. We are quick to say you need to learn how to love instead of hate. Well, this is love telling you need to learn how to read. You know what I'm saying? And define words and understand them for yourself and put them in proper context, because I'm tired of reading over posts on different social sites where the words are totally used out of context, and you can see that this person is supposed to be a leader, but they can't lead, can't even write a complete sentence. You know what I'm saying? Lacking a subject, you know what I'm saying, and a predicate or a noun and a verb. It's not there. It's missing. For instance, the word there, THERE. Then you have the word there, THEIR. Why do you use THERE when referencing a person? And why do you use THEIR when referencing a thing? See, that's context taken out of place. You understand? So when you say our, or, it's certain words that you can see that are misused all the time by those who are supposed to be leaders. And when you're misleading the people with literacy, with words that don't have their right context, you're misleading your follower. Also, your follower is being misled. Now, the thing with the followers, this is one way that you are used, and this is one way that you are played, because you don't have a science of words. In slavery, they said you want to keep something from a nigga, you put it in the book, because niggas don't read, but niggas love to have somebody read to them. This is why you got cats who come along who are quick with the language and can play it. You know what I'm saying? And they hustle you out of your money and so on and so forth, because they speak a language that you don't understand. And then they dictate the language for you and tell you what it means when you are able to research and validate this stuff for yourself. This is how you get duped. This is why you're paying large amounts of money for packages and lectures and all this other crap, and nothing ever comes out of it. Because you're illiterate leaders who are using literate means to continue to hustle you. And some of these leaders are very literate and they're hustlers. And then you have those leaders who are very illiterate and they're doing the same thing too. They're hustling too. You understand? But they're hustling off of a whole nother paradigm, and the paradigm is misdirection. You see what I mean? So we have to move towards literacy and learn how to read. Yeah, I mean, you can't sit here and compare yourself to like I said, to the prophet, and mimic the prophet. There's only one prophet. There was only one. He was himself. The mimicking of him means character. You know what I mean? Like I said again, he said, get a good European education. I could use you. Because he knew and understood that our people don't have a grasp of education. And what is true education? Again, it's not necessarily something that comes through the institutions of school or what we call higher learning. I mean, that helps a whole bunch. But real education is done throughout the world. It's inside of the world education. It's holistic. But as far as different organizations and groups, we got to stop allowing illiterate people to come forward and lead, because it looks foolish to the rest of the world, especially if you have someone who represents you and they're representing you on a high level to the rest of the world, to other groups and organizations, and this person can't read. This person can't speak properly. This person cannot, code switch properly, cannot be a professional when it's time to be a professional and use professional language. You understand? And then cannot code switch it back to the time period where it needs to be done with their own people. See, some of us are just stuck with our people in that state of in that state of giving information. We're stuck right here. We can't climb to this level and come over on this side and deal with the system. That's why I laugh at a lot of these brothers who want to have debates. If you really want to be impressive and you want to debate somebody, debate the Europeans. You understand? Debate them, because we're tired of the ineffective leadership, the illiterate leadership, and especially that type of leadership that feeds on its own people. You talk the black power rhetoric talk. You talk the kill the white man talk. You talk revolution talk and all of this type of stuff. But when it's time to really bang out and come down and get down to it, you bang out on your own people, those who don't agree with you, those who look like you go beat them up and you fight them. And you don't fight the same thing that you're talking about, the system. You're cowards. That's ineffective leadership. See, a true leader, any admiral, general, whatever you want to call yourself, a true leader demonstrates exactly what the teaching is. You know what I'm saying? Or what the command or the directive is. A true leader will give that directive and show it to you. If I give you an order, it's only natural that I demonstrate the order first so you can see how to do it properly. That's how you know the leader is. Not someone who gives you a directive and tell you what to do and tell you to go do something and then they don't show you how to do it. That ain't real leadership. That's suspect leadership. You know what I'm saying? And we're looking at a lot of suspect leadership because we know that COINTELPRO exists. And we know that there are agents all through every organization. And you can really pick them out if you're silent. If you take time and you take a look, you can see, because their actions are counterculture to anything that has to do with freedom, even though they speak freedom talk. So illiterate leaders, ineffective leaders, we have to begin to remove them, because a real leader doesn't want followers, but he wants leaders to be created so they can lead in their own paradigms. You see what I'm saying? Because followers become dependent and they can't think. So ineffective leaders want followers. They want slavery. And real leaders, literate leaders, teach other leaders how to become leaders and teach the idea and to accept education and to read every chance you get, and to define words and break them down every chance you get, and to ask questions every chance you get. Do not allow anything to go unquestioned, because if you do, that's an indoctrinated mind. That's one who's been conditioned to be a slave. So on that manner and on that note, check the ineffective leadership, because it's tons of it. It's illiterate, it's ineffective, and we need to get rid of them and put them somewhere else, because what they're doing is they're aiding and abetting the other side without even knowing it. You see what I mean? They're breaking down their own movement and organizations and showing the ineffective qualities without even knowing it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to keep your mouth shut, ineffective, illiterate leader. And if you're illiterate, put somebody else in place who can be literate. You understand? Who can represent and give this a good look, because many of you illogical, illiterate leaders, we see you all over Facebook posting words out of context, posting sentences that are not even complete sentences, and you want to lead somebody and you expect people to really buy into your leadership, and they can see that you don't even know what a verb is or a noun. It's ridiculous, man. And we got to do better. Peace.